So Raid has come a long way from when it released. And I think that it's important to acknowledge the good things that are being done. That doesn't mean that we can't still talk about the things that need doing or the things that are still bad. But I do think it's important to give some props where they're due. And I think they've done a lot of good things. Maybe not in the best timing, maybe not always in the best way, but it's a much different game now than when it came out. There's a lot of big problems that have been solved. There's some things that got added to the game that I thought were never going to get added to the game. That AI override system they just implemented is killer. I think they did such a good job implementing it. There are a few tweaks that could be made to it, which maybe we'll talk about in this video. But overall, I think it's fantastic. Not something I thought we were ever going to see in Raid, to be honest. I had people mention it to me before, and I was like, they're not going to do that. And I was just straight up wrong. Excuse me. So that's a big one. They've made a lot of changes that needed making. The clan boss infinite health issue. I don't know what's going on. I got stung by a wasp earlier, as I've mentioned before. Maybe my throat's closing up. Maybe I'll die soon. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about what's been done, what still needs doing, just kind of a discussion. This is just kind of a discussion video. There's nothing too pressing in here, but I know sometimes you guys seem to enjoy the discussion videos. And full disclosure, I need to pump out a few videos because I'm pre-recording videos because I'm out of town right now. So I this is an easy one for me to do to fill in a day and talk with you guys. I'm going to read the comments, and I'm interested to know what you guys think. So I'm also going to pin a link to another Game On clip. I got to pump those out too to make sure I hit my monthly, since I'm not going to be here for the last half of this month or the last part of this month. So if you guys will click that link, check out that clip, that would help me out a lot. Now, let's see. I guess one question I want to pose to you guys is, what do you think the biggest problem in the game is now? There's been a few things that I think are really big problems that have been fixed. What's the biggest thing now that they need to solve? I think some popular candidates for this would be the silver crunch in the game. The silver crunch is brutal. I feel like it feels a little bit lighter at the moment because we just had that month of half-cost artifact removal. So it almost feels like, I don't know, the discussion around the silver crunch has gotten quiet. And I think it's because of that. I think it's because we all felt it a lot less for a month. And I think as this month ends and the next month begins, we're going to start to feel it quite a bit more. So I think silver crunch is still a pretty big issue. I don't know if I think it's the biggest problem in the game right now. There are some big things that need doing with CVC. But again, I don't think that's... I don't know. Maybe there's a conversation to be had about that. Some really big, prominent clans have broken up over CVC. That's kind of a big deal. But that's also... I don't know. That seems more like a them thing than a raid thing. Not that it's not Plarium's fault that the problems exist, but like, breaking up your whole clan over it seems like a lot. So, I don't know. Maybe that's not the biggest problem in raid. I'll tell you one I think is a problem is how heavily they lean on fusions. That might be my biggest complaint right now. Aside from not having a free artifact removal day every month. Because that's been my number one thing since the day I started playing the game, and it'll be my number one thing till they do it. I don't understand why not. But I've talked about that enough. I think how heavily they lean on fusions and how uninteresting the tournaments and events are. They're just so bland. It's all so bland. There's no creativity. There's not really much incentive to participate, usually. And if there is, unless you're a big spender, you're just not going to be able to compete for the prize. You're just not going to be able to, which maybe can't be avoided, right? Maybe that can't be avoided. The spenders are always going to have advantages in situations like that. So that's fine, but I think what you could do is maybe fan out the incentive a little bit more. Make the rest of the rewards a little bit more appealing too. If we go into this tournament right now and we look we look at the leaderboard, let's say the new tag arena tournament. First prize is a void shard, some forge materials, 6-star set of legendary relentless gear. That's not bad. That's a pretty good first place prize. That's pretty good incentive. Number 2, Void Shard, 5-star legendary gear, 4 pieces, some more forge materials. That's fine. Then here you get some epic relentless gear. Okay, also fine. Then if you come down here, it just I don't know. One, I feel like third place could probably get a little bit more. You could throw an ancient shard in there for him or something. And then here, that's not even 2 energy refills. Like, you're gonna... You have to spend so much time in these tournaments, usually, depending on your bracket. Sometimes you get lucky, but let's say everybody's trying to be competitive. You'd have to go so hard. You'd have to go so hard to hold one of these spots for not even 2 energy refills. This... Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like there's not a lot of thought in it. It's just uninteresting. Uninspired feeling, uninteresting. And then the fusions, man, they just lean so heavily on fusions. It's like they don't... I don't know. I think we need more interesting things going on in the game. If you look at a game like Summoner's War or some of these other games, and there's an events tab always, and there's always all these events going on, and you always come out net positive for one. With Raid, you're paying to participate, basically. You're giving more than you're getting back, which defeats the whole purpose, dude. It defeats the whole purpose. That's not the point. It's supposed to be fun and an opportunity for you to get more stuff if you want it and not come out net negative. And usually you do, right? If you want any of the high quality items from any of these events, you're gonna have to go in really hard. So I think maybe perhaps that's my biggest issue with the game right now is I don't want to say the game is stagnant, because I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot to do. I think there are a lot of good challenges. There is a decent amount of content. The game is fun. But it feels like maybe they don't have the right people in the right departments for some of these things. This heavy reliance on fusions and just the same old events over and over and over. With these small tweaks. You know, now they're doing dragon. I think there's a dragon tournament in here coming up. Only champs from specific factions. It's like, sure, that's fine. That's fine. But like, it's been 2 years, and it's literally the same events. And now there's a slight tweak to the dragon tournament. I don't know. That feels boring. Feels boring. The only reason I ever even look in the event or tournament tabs anymore is if I have a red dot I need to get rid of, or 2, if there's a fusion going on and I'm trying to keep up with it. Other than that, if there's tournaments and events outside of a fusion, I don't even open the tab and look. Like, I could not care less about what's going on in the game. So that might be my biggest one, aside from the free artifact removal day per month. I think that's a big one. I give people an opportunity to move their champs around and rework their account and make some changes without having to spend so much silver. We were talking in the stream earlier that it's crazy to me that when I was doing account reworks, someone could hand me an account with 50 million silver and want like a full overhaul, and 50 million silver might not be enough to rework an account. To get dungeon team set and a clan boss team set, 50 million might not cut it, depending on you know, what gear is equipped where. But we're talking well over $1 million. If someone's wearing even a decent amount of 6-star gear to remove all their stuff, it's well over $1 million silver. Like, that's wild. If you've got 2 champs, you just want to swap their gear and they're both decently geared, you're gonna spend 2.5 million silver just moving it, dude. That's too much. That's too much. So I don't know. Definitely other problems, definitely other things. There's a lot of small quality of life things I would like to see in the game. I would love to see the void, a multiple void shard pop. I know a lot of people have been wanting that for a while. I would love to see the clunkiness of the tavern and the artifact filter sorted out. They're very clunky. They're great features, and in a lot of ways I like the way that this was implemented, but it's just very, very clunky. I don't like that every time I make a change, it moves me around and reopens all the tabs, and I just don't, it doesn't need to be that clunky, and surely it's not that hard of a fix. So that's a big one. I know they've been talking about doing some things to decrease the amount of time you have to spend in the game, because another thing that I think is a problem is that this is my full-time job, making content and playing Raid. I mean, among other things, but I have a lot of time that I can dedicate to playing this game. And I think that the average Raid player does not, in most cases. Most people have a job to go to and other things to do. And sometimes, some days I have a hard time keeping up with everything that's going on in the game. And I try to remember, even when I'm talking about fusions, even when a fusion seems easy, like this last one seemed pretty easy, it seemed easy to me because I can do it all day. You know what I mean? I can sit here and be editing videos and have it going and be doing other things. And other people probably don't have that luxury. So even if it feels easy to me, that doesn't necessarily mean it was easy. And I think that fusions should have a lot of wiggle room because, again, a lot of your players are, you know, people that are not content creators for the game and have lives to live and other things to do. And it's a real bummer, especially on these really tight fusions when, you know, you're 75% of the way through and you have a bad day. You get hung up late at work, or you get a flat tire, or whatever it may be, and now everything you've done is gone because they made the fusion so tight that there was no room for error. You know, you got to find a balance where where your die-hard players and your big spenders can just knock shit out. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. And then the rest of your players have a shot at it, even if they can't go full-on hardcore like your super die-hard all-day players. So it's a young game. It's 2 years old. I think overall I feel like they mean well these days, and I haven't felt like that about them before. When I first got here, I did, and then they made me stop thinking that. And for a long time, I didn't think that. Now I'm kind of thinking, I think for the most part, they mean well. Their packs are still shitty most of the time. There's still a lot of things that need doing. You know, I'm not saying they're perfect, but it does feel like they mean well, and that's all I can really want for now. You know, as long as I think they're trying for the most part, I'm pretty content to be here. So I don't know. I guess I've rambled enough. Again, just kind of a random discussion video. Just thought we would talk for a little bit. I'm really interested to know what you guys think. What are some quality of life things you would like to see? Another big one is if you've already 3-starred a faction war stage, autocomplete, little stuff like that I think would make a big difference. But I'm interested to know some quality of life updates you think would be really good to add to the game right now. Things you would like to see changed, and then what you think is the biggest problem in Raid right now. And then maybe if you have any ideas about what you think could be done about it, that would be interesting to know too. And I'll end my rambling there. I appreciate everybody watching. Really interested to hear what you guys think about all this. And I don't know, maybe someone at Plarium will see it and read through the comments and get some good ideas. I don't know. I do know they watch my videos occasionally. That's pretty cool. So that's it. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.